The pie was still warm in her hands when the whispers started. Ruth Callahan stood in the church doorway, and every head in the room turned to look at her. She felt her face go hot. She did not run. She walked straight to a table with two empty seats, set her pie down hard on the wood, and sat. The room went quiet, then loud again, only now the talk was about her. "Sit down, girl, before you drop something," an old woman muttered, not even trying to hide her voice. A few people laughed. A man near the window shook his head slow, like he felt sorry for her. Ruth heard it all. She lifted her chin higher and folded her hands in her lap, calm as still water, though her heart was pounding hard against her ribs. She was 26. No husband. No mother, no father, nobody left but her and a small farm past the ridge. In Piney Hollow, a woman alone was a puzzle nobody wanted to solve out loud. More people filled the room, chairs scraped, bowls of beans passed hand to hand. Children ran between the tables, laughing. Couples leaned close and shared bread. The seat beside Ruth stayed empty. Nobody sat there, not one person, not even to be polite. She stared at that empty chair like it was mocking her. A whisper slid past her ear. "Best not sit by her, folks will talk." Ruth did not turn around. She kept her back straight and her eyes forward, though her throat burned tight, like she might cry right there in front of everyone. She would not give them that. Not tonight. Then cold air rushed through the open door. Every head turned again. A tall stranger stood at the entrance, dust on his boots, a full beard under his hat, eyes sharp as a hawk's. Nobody in Piney Hollow knew his name. His gaze swept the room. It stopped on the one empty chair, and on the woman sitting beside it, alone. He started walking straight toward her. The stranger's boots hit the wood floor, slow and heavy, and every eye in the room followed him. Ruth's heart pounded so hard she thought others might hear it. Surely he was walking to another table. Surely someone else was waiting for him. He stopped right beside her. He pulled off his hat. His voice came out low and rough, like two stones grinding together, but there was something soft hidden inside it too. "Evening, ma'am. Mind if I sit here?" Ruth could not speak. She looked up at him, not sure this was real. Around the room, people leaned in close to each other. Whispers spread fast, like fire through dry grass. "Who is that man? Never seen him before in my life. Why would he sit with her, of all people?" Ruth finally found her voice. It shook a little. "No, I don't mind." The man sat down. He was so tall that even sitting, he seemed to take up half the table. He looked at the pie in front of her. "That yours?" he asked. "Yes, apple. Smells good." Nobody offered to try a piece. Ruth looked down at her hands. "No." He picked up the spare fork, the one meant for the chair nobody had wanted, and cut a small piece of pie. He chewed slow, like he was thinking hard on the taste. "Best pie I've had in 2 years," he said. "And I mean that, I'm not just being kind." Something warm moved through Ruth's chest. It was such a small thing, a stranger eating her pie. But no one had been kind to her in a long, long while. She almost smiled. Nearby, an older woman leaned toward her husband. Bold of him, sitting with her like that, in front of everybody. Before anyone could say more, the stranger spoke up, loud enough for the whole table to hear. "Name's Jonah Cole. I trap furs in the high country." He looked straight at Ruth. "And you are?" Ruth Callahan." Across the room, a chair scraped back hard against the floor. A heavy-set man stood up fast, his face already turning red. Every face turned toward the heavy-set man. Ruth's stomach dropped. She knew that look on him. She had heard his kind of talk whispered before, but never spoken loud, never spoken in front of the whole room. "You ought to know what you're sitting next to, mister," the man said. His name was Thomas Grigg, and he ran the feed store. His chair scraped again as he pushed it back further. "That woman lives alone out past the ridge," Thomas said. "No husband, no family left. Folks around here wonder why a woman like that never married, wonder what's wrong with her." Gasps moved through the room, quick and sharp, like wind cutting through wheat. Ruth wanted to sink into the floor. She stared hard at the table, her hands shaking in her lap. Jonah Cole did not move fast. He did not raise his voice. He set his fork down slow and looked at Thomas with eyes steady as stone. "Mister," Jonah said, "I've spent 6 months alone in mountains where one wrong step means death. I buried 2 good men who froze because they trusted the wrong trail. Out there, a man learns fast what matters and what doesn't." He paused. Nobody in the room breathed. "What doesn't matter," Jonah went on, "is whether a woman has a husband standing next to her. What matters is her character. And in 5 minutes sitting here, Miss Callahan has shown more grace than this whole room, sitting quiet while you all whispered behind her back like a pack of cowards." Thomas's face turned darker red. "Now see here, stranger, you don't know this town." "I know enough," Jonah said, firm as iron. "I know a room full of people let a good woman sit alone while they judged her for things that are none of their business." Someone laughed nervous in the back, then went quiet fast. Thomas stepped forward, fists closing tight. "You think you can talk to me that way in my own town?" Jonah rose slow, a full head taller than Thomas, calm as a mountain standing in wind. "I think," he said, "a man who spends his time gossiping about a woman who never wronged him isn't a man I need to worry much about." Thomas's hand rose, shaking. Then the church door creaked, and an old, steady voice cut through the room like thunder. It was Pastor Whitfield, the town's old preacher. His hair was white, his walk slow, but his voice carried across the room like thunder rolling over a valley. "That's enough, both of you, sit down." Thomas Grigg froze, fists still tight. The pastor walked closer, his eyes fixed hard on him. "Thomas Grigg, I have known you since you were a boy, and I am ashamed of what just came out of your mouth. Ruth Callahan has done nothing but work hard and keep to herself since her mother passed. She has never asked this town for pity, and she has never deserved its scorn." Thomas opened his mouth, then shut it again. Slowly he sat down, his face still red, but his anger draining away under the pastor's steady stare. The pastor turned to Ruth. His face went soft. "Child, I am sorry. I should have seen this happening and stopped it long before now." Ruth's eyes filled with tears, but these felt different. Not shame, relief, like a heavy stone had rolled off her chest at last. The pastor looked at Jonah next. "And you, stranger, you have more sense than most men who have lived here their whole lives. Thank you for speaking the truth when no one else would." Jonah nodded. "Just spoke what I saw, Pastor, nothing more." Slowly the room began to change. A young woman named Sarah walked over and sat across from Ruth. "I'm sorry, Ruth. I should have sat with you tonight. I was scared of what people would say." Then Sarah's father came and sat too. Soon the table that held one lonely woman now held 6 people, then 8, all talking, all sharing bread and pie. One by one, others came to say sorry, or just to sit near her like she was any other person in town. Ruth looked around, hardly believing it. An hour ago, she had been the loneliest person in the room. Now she was surrounded by warmth. She looked at Jonah beside her. "Why did you do that? You didn't know me." Jonah thought a moment. "Up in the mountains, when you see someone alone and cold, you sit with them. That's just how it's done where I come from." Ruth smiled, real and warm, for the first time all night.